Hello, I'm Tim Miller with the Yanmar Academy. Today we're going to talk about using your new rotary cutter with your Yanmar tractor. We'll take a look at daily maintenance, connecting the three-point hitch, and operation. So let's get started. The rotary cutter is one of the key implements to maintain your property. They're great to tackle a variety of terrains, including overgrown brush, weeds in the pasture, and overgrown grass. First, be sure the cutter is sized correctly to fit your tractor. Check the rotary cutter's operator's manual for specific horsepower requirements. Next, check the wheel width of the tractor. The cutter should be at least as wide as the outside edges of the rear tires. Daily maintenance is important for your rotary cutter. There's only a few simple tasks, so let's take a look at them. First is the drive line. The drive line has two universal joints, one on the front and one on the rear. Each universal joint has a grease zerk, 3 or 4 pumps of a grease gun, and you should be good to go. The slip joint may stick as well. If it does, just pull it apart, add some grease, and slide it back together, and you're good to go. Next, we'll move to the rear of the cutter to the tail wheel. There are 2 grease zerks here. One is on the tail wheel itself, and the other is on the swivel joint. You'll want to fill those until they're full. Now that we've finished our daily maintenance checks, there's a couple of items that I want to mention as we move back toward the tractor. These are annual checks. The first one is a gearbox, and it's important that you check the gearbox before you go to the field for the very first time. We want to check the oil level, and to check the oil level, we would remove this plug. Oil should seep out if it's at the proper level. If it isn't, then we would remove the top plug, add oil until it seeps out, then replace both plugs. One thing you need to know if you've never owned a cutter, this oil is not engine oil and it's not hydraulic oil. It is gear oil specifically made for gearboxes, so be sure to use the right Yanmar oil. Next, we want to go to the slip clutch. You'll want to check it and make any adjustments once a year as well. Now that we've finished our daily maintenance checks, it's time to connect the cutter to the tractor. Yanmar Academy has 2 videos to help you. One is connecting the three-point hitch. The second is PTO operation. Be sure you check those out. We'll begin connecting our cutter to the tractor. First, we'll start with the left lift arm. We can use the extendable links to connect the tractor, but we want to be sure that they are in the lock position before we use any implement. Next, connect the lift arm, slide in our click pin, and we're good. Now you notice on the right side, it doesn't quite line up with the pin. So I'll turn the turnbuckle on the right side to raise the lift arm until it aligns, slide it on, and put in my lock pin. Next, connect the top link. Be aware that top links are threaded on both sides. We want to keep about the same number of threads on each side. So I will hold this end as I extend the top link to the pinhole. Now we'll connect the drive line to the tractor PTO. Be sure it is connected securely and all of the guards are in place. Now we're ready to make adjustments to level the cutter. You'll notice our cutter is lower on the right side. We will use the same turnbuckle to level the cutter from side to side. We will also need to set the front to rear position. Typically, we want the rear of the cutter 1/2 to 3/4 of an inch higher than the front. This makes it easy for clippings to flow through and exit the cutter. First, adjust the tail wheel. You'll notice there are several adjustments. The higher setting is for normal discharge and dense materials, while the lower setting will mulch or shred the material more. Then adjust the front of the cutter with the top link. Extending it will raise the front of the deck. The last adjustment are the stabilizers. They should be adjusted to reduce the amount of movement from side to side. You don't want the three-point hitch or implement to hit the tires. And now from the operator station, there's one last check we want to make sure with the cutter. That is that the drive line does not come in contact with the cutter deck. So we'll raise the deck up and make sure there's more than 1 inch of clearance between the deck and the driveline. If we need more clearance, we'll extend the top link. Now it's almost time to go to field, but before we do, there's 2 controls we need to review. Raise or lower the cutter using the position control lever until the desired height is reached. If equipped, the position stop knob can be used for more consistent cutting once you've found the cutting height you like. The PTO switch is operated by pushing the knob in and turning it to turn the PTO on, and simply tap it to turn the PTO off. When you start the cutter, turn on the PTO with the engine at idle and gradually raise the engine speed until the PTO reaches 540 RPM as shown on the monitor. Operating above 540 RPMs may cause damage and should be avoided. Before working in the field, you should inspect the area that you will be mowing and remove any large rocks, limbs, roots, or anything that may cause damage. You will also want to be careful around anything that cannot be moved, such as ditches or potholes. A rotary cutter can be very dangerous. For example, while operating, the blades can throw debris and objects in any direction. Consult your cutter and tractor manuals for more information. Now it's time to go to field. We want to start off slow. Typical travel speed with a cutter is about 2 to 5 miles an hour. Personally, I like to go slower. Gives me more seat time. Take care now. Head out and clean up that field. But most of all, enjoy your Yanmar tractor and cutter.